Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tearing down a financial crime that is frankly terrifying. We hear about scams all the time, right? But the sheer patience, the psychological manipulation, and the technical trickery involved in the case we're looking at today, it is on a whole different level.
Just look at this number, 47 lakh 35,874 rupees. That is the exact amount drained from a single victim. And the craziest part? This wasn't some quick smash and grab operation. This highly calculated scam took over 3 years to execute. 3 years of methodically draining someone's life savings, all done entirely over the phone and through messaging apps.
And the target behind that massive loss? A 73-year-old retired woman from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. She was systematically targeted, groomed, and manipulated. And, she really represents one of the most vulnerable demographics in our digital age, retirees who inherently trust authority figures and just aren't aware of the extreme lengths modern criminals will go to fake their legitimacy.
All right, let's get into Section 1, the 47 lakh insurance scam.
So, every scam needs a hook, a reason for you to actually stay on the line. Back in April 2022, these scammers reeled her in with a call claiming they could release 10 lakh rupees linked to her old life insurance corporation, or LIC policy. They spun this story that the money was sitting safely in a government account, just waiting for her to claim it. It's that classic, powerful mix of greed and relief. I mean, who wouldn't want a sudden windfall of their own money, supposedly just a few administrative steps away?
Moving on to Section 2, Anatomy of the Fraud. What makes this whole thing so scary isn't just the money they stole, it's how incredibly professional their social engineering was to build total trust. We're not talking about a lone caller in a basement. This was an organized syndicate operating like a legitimate corporate department. First, they sent extremely convincing fake Supreme Court and Central Bureau of Investigation emails. Next, they actually forced her to open brand new bank accounts in her own name at ICICI and HDFC banks. And then, this is wild, they instructed her to get a new SIM card and literally courier the entire new bank kit, meaning passbooks, ATM cards, and the SIM, straight to an address in Delhi. She was basically handing over the remote control to her entire financial identity. To keep this going, they built a complete illusion of authority. They passed the phone around like a real office. She'd speak to Mitesh Kumar, supposedly from the Finance Ministry, and then Jagdish Chandra Vyas, a fake senior manager at the National Payments Corporation of India. They even sent her a forged Aadhaar card via WhatsApp with a masked number just to prove they were real. By layering all these fake identities and promising this massive eventual payout of 1.48 crore rupees, they easily convinced her to keep paying endless taxes, stamp duties, and processing fees. It is absolutely audacious.
Let's look at Section 3, Busting the Cyber Network.
Eventually, after she had pledged her jewelry and her accounts were drained, she finally got suspicious and called the National Cybercrime Helpline. The Ahmedabad Cybercrime Police jumped in, followed the digital footprints all the way to Modi Nagar in Uttar Pradesh, and busted the network. They arrested 2 key players. On the one hand, you have Sumit Kumar, the mastermind. He's an ex-telecaller who used his actual call center experience to flawlessly impersonate officials and write those forged emails. And on the other hand, Ashu Agarwal, the supplier. He was a telecom insider who exploited system loopholes to provide 15 to 20 black market SIM cards, charging 10 times the going rate and activating them using fake biometric details of completely unsuspecting people. Which brings us to Section 4, the 2025 vishing epidemic. Because here's the thing, this Ahmedabad case, it is not an isolated incident. It's essentially the blueprint for the modern fraudster. According to a report by cybersecurity firm BioCatch, the banking sector is dealing with such an unprecedented evolution in deceptive tactics right now that they are officially declaring 2025 as the year of the vishing scam. Now, vishing, or voice phishing, is basically a cybercrime that uses the telephone system to scam people into handing over private info or transferring money. But it has evolved way past those simple, obviously fake phone calls. Criminals figured out that while banks are getting really good at detecting remote access software, the simplest and most effective weapon is still just talking to someone on the phone.
To put this into perspective, globally, vishing attacks have surged by 30% annually. In 2023 alone, financial losses hit a staggering $1.2 billion. That's billion with a B. And right now, in the Asia-Pacific region, we're seeing huge spikes in deepfake cases and incredibly targeted attacks. And the 2025 Scammers Toolkit is terrifying. They're literally using AI voice cloning to sound exactly like distressed family members or legitimate bank officials. Here in India, we're seeing purely phone-based digital arrest scams where they keep a victim on a video call 24 hours a day, sometimes lasting an entire month. They're also doing something called call merging, where they trick the victim into linking the fraudster's call with an incoming call from the actual bank, giving the scammer the one-time password right over the line.
Let's move to Section 5, Institutional Pushback. The good news is regulators are fighting back, trying to turn the phone call into the scammer's greatest weakness. To tackle these sophisticated schemes, the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, or IRDAI, released their comprehensive 2025 Insurance Fraud Monitoring Framework Guidelines. To give you an idea of how much things have changed, their previous guidelines from 2013 didn't even mention cyber fraud. This new framework officially standardizes fraud into 5 distinct categories. By recognizing external and digital fraud explicitly, these rules force insurers to step up. They now have to create dedicated fraud monitoring committees, have board-approved anti-fraud policies, and take a zero-tolerance approach to these crimes.
And the clock is ticking. The guidelines dropped in October 2025, and by April 1, 2026, it is completely mandatory for all insurers and intermediaries to implement them. That includes proactively sharing threat intelligence to an industry-wide database, which will immediately flag blacklisted vendors and known fraudsters.
Meanwhile, the banks themselves are rolling out behavioral intelligence. This means they can catch anomalies in real time. Say you suddenly start an uncharacteristically large transfer, and at the exact same time you're using your speakerphone, the system spots that, automatically generates a risk score, and can literally pause the transfer right then and there to stop the fraudster from coaching you through it. Finally, Section 6, How to Protect Yourself. Because technology can only do so much, you are the final line of defense. The Delhi Police Cybercrime Cell has outlined some massive red flags. If you get a call and they say your policy is running at a loss, or hey, there's an unclaimed bonus waiting for you, or if they demand an upfront payment to avoid a cancellation, it is almost certainly a trap. Legitimate organizations are never going to ask for your secure card codes or pressure you to open a brand new bank account. So if you take away absolutely nothing else from this explainer, please remember this: stop, disconnect, verify. Never ever make a payment based on an unsolicited phone call. Hang up immediately, find the official phone number for your institution, and call them yourself. And if something feels off, dial 1930 to report the suspicious activity to the National Cybercrime Helpline. Scammers are just getting more sophisticated. They're using AI, fake emails, and multi-stage traps that can literally last for years, deliberately targeting the most trusting among us. So I'll leave you with this one vital question. Do the elderly, most vulnerable people in your life actually know how to spot the red flags of a modern phishing call? Have that conversation with them today before it's too late. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay safe out there.